In ancient times, the land of Egypt was called the gift of the Nile. For without this great river, Egyptian civilization would not have existed. The Nile is born deep within the African continent. It begins its journey from tropical lakes and snowy mountains, far to the south of Egypt. From there it flows 4,000 miles northward to the Mediterranean Sea. It is one of the world's biggest rivers. After plunging from the mountains, it spreads out to begin its graceful journey through Egypt. Here it passes through a timeless landscape, for life along the Nile has changed very little since the beginning of history. The river flows past fields which today are worked just as they were thousands of years ago. It flows past shepherds driving their sheep along the riverbank, and past farmers working together in the fields within sight of the silent water. Occasionally, the river glides by magnificent temples from the distant past, or past lush groves of palm trees, a reminder of the time when forests filled with flowers and wildlife cloaked much of the land along the Nile. In ancient times, water lilies grew along the riverbanks. The people living in the Nile Valley chose this beautiful flower as a symbol of their land. Yet, throughout its journey to the sea, the Nile actually flows through a vast desert called the Sahara. The Sahara extends for hundreds of miles across the north of Africa. It is difficult to travel through the Sahara. Large distances must be crossed without water, and the temperature reaches 115 degrees. The ancient Egyptians did travel here, but only when necessary. Mainly, they traveled up and down the river by boat, just as people do today. The ancient Egyptians could row or even sail downriver, aided by the river current. To return upriver, they simply filled their sails with wind, which usually blows from the north. The river carried almost everything. Even the heavy stones they used to build their temples were carried on the river in sailing ships. And at cities along the Nile, they unloaded precious cargo from foreign lands. For Egyptian sailors ventured out across the Mediterranean Sea to trade with their neighbors. Luckily for the Egyptians, the burning desert on both sides of the Nile protected the valley from invasion by foreign armies. In ancient times, this protected valley, the valley of the Upper Nile, was called Upper Egypt. In the north, the river divides and follows many different channels to the sea, forming a fan-shaped delta. The delta was called Lower Egypt.